عندي بطني وزمان
ليه؟
يعني ابودا كان عندي دي عشان رجليك ناس كانوا يشيلوا تنام
Hadi şef.
Frisa.
Nella sua sicurezza.メロンとイチゴとあったよ、それ。
Coffee. We are now. This feast is of God Horus, Osiris, Isis, Set. In ancient times, there were. I want my crispy down to the next place.
Like from the eggs.
Glace rosé, voilà moten. Red.
Hello, my friend. How are you? What's
لا تصور
In the Roman times, considered this town as the capital of Egypt.
It with alcohol, 1 to 9. I mean 1 part essence, 9 alcohol.
We must be the last group today. Everyone's
Happy landing, everybody. Happy landing. Happy landing.
About the tombs.
Kecil bagi ini setelah kita. Sudah enak sih.
Yes, this.
Thank